The Twins are 11-2 here, 4-12 in Chicago. How have they done it here? Hitting almost 300, hitting some home runs, good pitching. So a lot of good things happening for the Twins. Last night, 2 unearned runs because of a couple errors by the Chicago White Sox. And so let's talk about the defense. You saw that great catch by Denard Span. And yes, a very good closer in Joe Nathan.
Well, the White Sox were here just a couple of weeks ago. The Twins took 2 out of 3 and took Mark Buehrle out of the game early. The Twins really roughed him up. But since then, he's made some baseball history.
Well, just before the All-Star break, for some reason, Mark Buehrle had not a Mark Buehrle type outing against the Twins. He has 23 career wins against the Twins, more than anybody else. Well, the 3 1/3 innings, the short start, right after the All-Star break where he made the team, he's writing John Danks right there, the pitcher in last night's ball game, because he was not at this ball game. And what does Mark Buehrle do? Carry a perfect game into the 9th inning. And Dwayne Wise, what a catch right there. The final out off the bat of former Twin Jason Bartlett, the 18th pitcher ever to pitch a perfect game. What an awesome feeling that had to be from Mark Buehrle.
And his second career no-hitter. So it'll be Buehrle going for the Chicago White Sox, Scott Baker going for the Minnesota Twins. They hope to win this series in the second game of the series and maybe pick up some ground on both second place Chicago and first place Detroit.
Metrodome. That trend continued last night as the Twins took the series opener in exciting fashion. Tonight, the talk of baseball. Mark Buehrle tries to stop the Twins coming off his perfect performance. It's the Twins and Sox. Game 2 next. And Carlos Gomez injured his neck last night. It looks as if he's ready to play.
And Jeff Cox, the third base coach, acting like Gomez in the other dugout.
And Mark Buehrle coming in from the bullpen. And of course, last night he made a national TV appearance on the David Letterman show, the talk of baseball. Coming off a perfect game in his last start. And the White Sox manager knows that last night was a very imperfect game for his team, and they hope to do better here tonight. The Menard batting order for the White Sox in Game 2. Scott Podsednik, followed by Alexi Ramirez. Jermaine Diaz had a very good season, not just against the Twins, but an overall very solid season. Then Paul Konerko, A.J. Pierzynski, Carlos Quentin, Chris Getz, Gordon Beckham, and Dwayne Wise.
And let's take a look at the scouting report on Scott Baker. This will be his 20th start of the year, his third against the Chicago White Sox. What he'd like to do is do exactly what Swarzak and Perkins have done, and that's quality starts over the last 2 starts. Now he's making his 11th career start against the White Sox. In his career, 4 wins, 3 losses, but a high 6.88 earned run average.
Northland Ford defense for the Twins. One area where the Twins have a clear advantage over the White Sox. Span in left, Gomez in center, Cuddyer in right. Span with a great catch late last night. Harris, Punto, Casilla, Morneau around the infield with Mauer behind the plate.
Yeah, these 2 pitchers here tonight, they matched up when the White Sox were here before the All-Star break. That was a game that Baker got a lot of runs supported because of lack of success of Mark Buehrle. Baker won that ball game 13-7.
Here's Podsednik to get things started. First pitch up and away, a ball. That was the first of 2 straight wins for Baker, and if the bullpen hadn't let a lead slip away, he would have come off his 3rd straight win in beating the Angels on the West Coast. 1-1.
Well, and Baker hurt himself too. He threw a lot of pitches in 5 innings. He gave up only 2 runs against the Angels, 104 pitches. So these are the innings, the first 3 innings. Very important for Scott Baker to get some quick outs if he can.
And you get quick outs by throwing strikes. And Baker gets ahead of Podsednik now 1-2.
Yeah, Baker, excellent control, averaging just over 2 walks per 9 innings and averaging about 7.5 strikeouts per 9 innings so far this year.
And 2-2.
Baker, 27 years old, in his 5th season with the Twins.
That's lifted to left, and Span backpedals, and now comes in, 1 away.
And that's exactly what Baker is. Baker's a fly ball pitcher. Doesn't get a lot of ground ball outs. High fastball, breaking ball. He'll throw that curveball and the slider along with a very good circle changeup.
Well, the Twins need the starting rotation to get on a roll, and with so much of the schedule left to be played within the division, Baker on an American League Central roll. He's won his last 3 starts against the Central Division. And the Twins 29-20 at home, but impressively 18-12 within the division. They've got the best winning percentage within the American League Central. Foul back, 1-1.
And that's a good thing right there because, Dick, the last couple of months we're going to play a lot of ball games in the Central Division against the Tigers, the Royals, the Indians, and of course the Chicago White Sox.
1-1 to Alexi Ramirez. 1-2.
In his 5 innings of work last outing, Baker did strike out 6. Mentioned before, he is a strikeout pitcher, averaging just over 7 strikeouts per 9 innings.
Chopped foul by the Twins dugout. Camberwell, right about where we were doing the pregame segment, announcing the all-Metrodome team. Congratulations.
Hey, nice catch, Ron Coomer. Yeah, thank you very much.
That's a nice honor. You think of all the great pitchers that the Twins have had, including the current bunch of promising young starters, and one of 4 starting pitchers. Foul back. Baker with 10 pitches thrown here. As you said, hoping to have a quick first inning.
See Ramirez right on top of home plate. Joe Mauer putting down 3. The slider.
Bouncer to short. Punto sets. Fires 2 down. And that'll bring up Jermaine Dye. Dye, as we said, has had a great year with a decent average, 62 runs batted in. You notice the Chicago lineup again, the absence of Jim Thome, who's nursing a sore back. It's an ongoing issue for Thome, and on this artificial turf, the White Sox, rather than risk further injury, are letting Thome sit the first couple games, and maybe all 3.
That's okay with the Twins. Let him sit.
Down and away, 2-0.
Jermaine Dye, 35 years old. This is his 14th major league season, his 5th season with the White Sox. 2-time American League All-Star. Won a Rawling Gold Glove back in 2000 when he was with the Kansas City Royals. Very steady player.
About a month ago, the White Sox weren't sure whether they were going to be buyers or sellers or players in general before the trading deadline, but then the team played better. And back when they weren't sure, they were wondering what to do with Jermaine Dye, and he's been such a critical part of their lineup. Bouncer left side, and Harris goes off the tip of his glove. It'll be a hit for Dye with 2 away in the first.
Harris got a little bit of a late jump on that, tried to play that short hop, and it got by him. Take a look right here. Dye right off the end of the bat, and Harris trying to play that short hop, unable to play that little hop right there. Kind of hit his glove and deflected into left field. So Dye gets the first hit of the ball game for the White Sox.
Now tomorrow, Joe Crede might be at third base, but the Twins trying to ease Crede back into the lineup, and he's in the lineup tonight as a designated hitter. Here's Konerko, cranked a 2-run home run early in the ball game last night for the White Sox.
Yeah, Perkins came in on that first pitch on a fastball, and Konerko, a guy that likes to turn on that first pitch. Mauer sitting away.
And Konerko takes the pitch low.
Paul Konerko 6 for 21 lifetime against Baker, but 3 of the 6 hits have been home runs. Must be very careful here to Konerko. 20 home runs on the year.
Right at Harris, and now to Casilla and end the inning. So Baker gives up the hit. It does no damage. It's scoreless, top of the first. Been feeling well since the team got home.
Large pizza, please.
I bet that wasn't the case. Here's the Menards batting order for the Twins. Denard Span, Joe Mauer, Justin Morneau, Michael Kadire, big home run last night. Then Joe Crede, Brendan Harris, Carlos Gomez, Nick Punto, and Alexi Casilla.
And a scouting report on Mark Buehrle. What can you say? He was perfect in his last start. The 18th Major League perfect game in his last start against the Rays in Chicago. And he's had a lot of success against the Twins. 23 career wins against the Twins. 10 of those 23 here at the Metrodome.
Bernard Span leads things off against Buehrle. When Buehrle pitched here against the Twins a couple weeks ago, Span eliminated a lot of suspense. He broke up the shutout, the no-hitter, the perfect game in the first at-bat with a home run.
And his first career leadoff home run came that day, back on Sunday, July 12th.
1-1. And that hits the corner. Span looks back at Mike Winters.
Well, Buehrle, a pitcher that's not overpowering, outstanding control, 1.7 walks per 9 innings. Only Roy Halladay has a better, less walk per innings this year. It's a breaking ball right there, missing. 3.28 ERA for Buehrle. That's 8th in the American League. Zach Greinke leading with a 2.04 earned run average.
2-2 to Span. And inside 3-2.
You imagine a perfect game. 27 up, 27 down, and they said the only play that really came into play was the great catch off the bat of, I believe it was Gabe Kapler.
Gabe Kapler.
Yep, that Wise made.
And Wise got a cameo appearance in the top 10 list last night, along with Josh Fields, who had a grand slam home run in the game. Another 3-2 to Span. Another tapper foul. Well, in Buehrle's case, it was his second no-hitter. He also faced just 27 men in his no-hitter. He walked a guy and then picked him off. And then there was another game where he pitched a 9-inning complete game and faced just 27 batters. So it was the third time he'd faced the minimum in a 9-inning complete game. Chopper to the right side. Konerko to Buehrle. Step ahead of Span, one away. Northland Ford defense for the White Sox. And the defense cost the White Sox the game last night. Pasednik, Wise, and Dye in the outfield. Ramirez and Getz up the middle. Konerko and Peckham the corner infielders, and Brzezinski behind the plate. And then the point should be made, too, that Buehrle pitched his perfect game against a very good Tampa Bay lineup. Only 2 teams in the league scoring more runs than the Rays, and only 2 teams hitting more home runs in the league than the Tampa Bay Rays.
Well, one thing, and I know Ron Coomer, you watched him warm up in the bullpen. You know, Mark Buehrle's got not overpowering stuff.
Well, Bert, I got the call from Chicago. I watched him pitch his perfect game, or a lot of it. And then I heard today that he just went away from the cutter in the last game. So I watched him down in the bullpen today. Now, right now, his hardest pitch he's thrown is 84 miles an hour. He came out very late to warm up.
Fouled away, 1-2.
And when I watched him throw in the bullpen, he did not even look like he tried to overthrow or even hump up on one pitch. To me, it's going to be very interesting to watch. He's thrown 84. Most of his pitches have been 81, 82. Either he's throwing under the hitting speed, or he's got bad tendonitis and he's knowing what to do with it. But right now, he is not throwing even close to what he's capable of.
Fouled at the plate.
But you can see he has hit his spots. And, you know, everybody says, well, you have to throw 95, 96 miles an hour. And here's a guy like a catfish hunter, you know, that just hit their spots. They're in that comfort zone. He straddles the rubber. He's ready to make that pitch.
Bert, I would agree. To me, you know, Tom Glavine, in my era of hitting, I had to face him. But to me, Mark has always been a guy that would bust you in, especially as a righty. And right now, he doesn't look to have that pitch.
It's a couple of ground balls to the right side. I remember when Buehrle threw his no-hitter, and some sports talk people were wondering, well, how can a guy who doesn't throw like Buehrle, or doesn't throw hard like Buehrle, how can he, of all people, throw a no-hitter? And yet you watch no-hitters, and it gets towards the end, and everybody's got adrenaline. The hitters have adrenaline. The pitchers have adrenaline. To me, Buehrle would be the perfect guy to throw a no-hitter because everybody's amped up, and he's not amped up.
On some of the perfect games, you go to Kenny Rogers. I mean, the game that David Wells pitched against us.
Right.
You know, how good a breaking ball did he have? I remember the only perfect game that I saw as a player, Len Barker with the Cleveland Indians back in 1981. It was his breaking ball, not his explosive fastball, that allowed him to pitch that perfect game.
Yeah, a little fly ball to right center field. And Wise lets it for die. And the perfect game was nearly broken up on a little fly ball to short right. Nathan, Mauer, Creedy. Creedy looks a little bit like Hunter Thompson on the right there. Well, Scott Baker pitched a scoreless first inning, and now it'll be A.J. Pierzynski, Carlos Quentin, and Chris Getz. And off-speed pitch over first strike.
That's a good pitch right there for Baker, because a lot of people will sit on that first fastball, and if they're able to get that breaking ball over, it just makes all the other pitches that much better.
Pierzynski hitless in the game last night. And an animated discussion with Alexei Ramirez, the shortstop, early in the ball game. Fouled away, 1-2.
Yeah, something that Ozzie Guillen was asked about after the ball game, and he said that's clubhouse stuff. You know, that's pretty much over with. That happens, and we go on with the game of baseball.
And if it had happened in the clubhouse, no one would have seen it. It just happened in the dugout and on the TV cameras. And then the manager threw the bubblegum bucket. There's a line to the left and the base hit for Pierzynski. Second hit for Chicago, and Pierzynski's aboard with a leadoff hit. Let's find Robbie Innsmikowski.
Good evening, gentlemen, and I have some news from the world of the National Football League. Bert, you know what that is, right? You know what the NFL is? It's football. And the news pertains Brett Favre, former quarterback for the Packers and the New York Jets. If you haven't heard, he said today he will stay retired. He will not join the Minnesota Vikings to be their starting quarterback this season. Can you believe that? So, Bert, here's my question to you. Do you know who the other two quarterbacks are that are now going to battle it out to be the starting?
Do you want to buy my Brett Favre jersey that I bought?
Do you know how to spell Favre, Bert?
F-A-R.
Yes. Incorrect. The quarterbacks now that are battling to be the starter, Sage Rosenfels.
No.
How was that incorrect?
Tommy Kramer's not playing anymore.
Bob Lee.
They always ask me how far did they hit that ball. I said far.
Yes. You can't spell Brett Favre, can you, Bert?
F-A-R-V-E.
Yes, incorrect.
F-A-V-R-E.
But good try.
Yeah.
Anyways, but back to the serious stuff. It's Sage Rosenfels and Tavares Jackson now battling to be the starting quarterback for the Minnesota Vikings. There will be no number 4 purple jerseys this season. unless you go and buy one, Bert.
Shoot. Oh.
Carlos Quentin with a 1-1 count. Baker pitching from the stretch here after Pierzynski's leadoff hit. And now 2-1.
You know, I've seen this from Baker, just that high fastball. He needs to make the adjustment, get that ball down. In situations like this, you want to try to get a ground ball. You're not going to get a ground ball pitching chest high. This guy gets as low as he can anyway in that batter's box. And he will leap up on a high fastball. Good changeup there.
Well, the White Sox made a move today to deepen their outfield bench. They acquired veteran Mark Kotsay from the Boston Red Sox and sent Brian Anderson, a long-term prospect for the White Sox, over to the Red Sox.
Yeah, you know, Anderson was given an opportunity to play here. He just did not succeed. And Kotsay, the biggest thing is he going to stay healthy. I remember when he signed with the Marlins way back when. He always, you know, he had great potential out of Cal State Fullerton. But so many different injuries.
Recently back issues, and of course Quentin's dealing with the plantar fasciitis. Jim Thome's out right now with a bad back.
How long have you had a weak back? I mean, a bad back. About a week back.
About a week back?
Yeah.
So if nothing else, Kotsay acquired as an insurance policy in case Quentin breaks down before the end of the season. And a strikeout, a foul tip. Mauer hangs on for the first out.
Well, Baker picking up his first strikeout. Going to the fastball. And in the first 3 or 4 innings, we've seen Baker get some strikeouts. He had 6 strikeouts in the first 4 innings in his last start.
Here's Chris Getz, who's done a nice job at second base for the White Sox this year. Starts him with a fastball down the middle.
Yeah, gets a September call-up last year for the White Sox, signed by the White Sox out of the University of Michigan in 2005.
Jason Nix played second base last night with Perkins, the lefty, going. Gets the call here tonight. Ooh,
watch out.
Right over the Twins dugout, and
I think it hit the aisle.
I think it hit the aisle, hit the seat.
Jeff Cox right there, the third base coach. Gets a speedster, 16 doubles on the year, 3 triples. He has 14 stolen bases in 15 attempts. Now you want to try to keep off the bases. Baker working that ball into the position he wants.
0-2 to Getz. And now a ball. The White Sox recently had happen to them what happened to the Twins months ago. They pulled into a tie with the Tigers, only to see the Tigers open up a lead again. Tigers came here back in May. The Twins swept them, pulled into a tie, and then the Tigers turned around and won 6 straight, opened up a big lead again. Well, the White Sox got into a tie with the Tigers, had the big series in Detroit, and the Tigers won the first 3 to give them a little breathing room again.
Well, you see in the Central Division, you play 500 baseball, and exactly what the Twins are doing. They're only 3 games back. So nobody's going to run away with this division.
1-2 to Chris Getz. And a look over at Pierzynski, who probably isn't going anyplace. AJ with 1 steal on the year.
Catcher had to break his leg or something.
Lifted foul into the seats. Well, the White Sox and Twins each with 100 games played, so Minnesota high school math. 62 games left counting tonight, right?
You're counting tonight.
Counting tonight, there's 62 games left.
Very good.
Tigers have 2 more games to play. They've only played 98 coming into play today, so that would leave them with, give me a second, 64 games.
Now let me get you. get back to you on that. Oh, nice grab right there. Barehanded it.
What, pray tell, was in the other hand?
Some chips. Old Dutch.
2-2. Red Sox succeeding in running up Baker's pitch count here a little bit. He's already thrown 33 pitches. Check swing, they'll appeal. Strike 3, he's gone, 2 away.
Getz can't believe it. That little cutter inside, maybe the slider down and in. And Baker right here. Quick bat and strike 3.
Tomorrow night's a Wednesday night. Wednesdays are all about the hot dogs again this year. Come out tomorrow for Hormel $1 a Dog Night presented by Country Hearth. Hormel dogs for $1 a piece while supplies last. Limit 2 per customer. You can get your tickets for the Twins and White Sox by calling 800-33-TWINS or visit twinsbaseball.com. 2 gone. Here's Gordon Beckham. Ball 1. Beckham's made quite an impression. In fact, even though he started very, very late, in the absence of anybody else who's put together a strong rookie season, Beckham's going to get some Rookie of the Year consideration if he keeps going at this rate. Down and away a ball. Beckham with 156 at bats. He's hitting about 300. Has driven in 27 runs, 5 homers, a dozen doubles.
Remember, it's Josh Fields who started the season at third base. That did not go over very well, so they gave Beckham an opportunity. He came up June 4th. And he's playing almost every day.
At the knees, and it's 2-1. Last year, Evan Longoria didn't start the season with the Rays, but ended up winning the Rookie of the Year award as a third baseman.
Yeah, Beckham just 22 years old. Number 1 pick by the White Sox in 2008.
And Beckham misses the fastball. 2-2.
Good fastball, good location, outer half of the plate.
Baker hasn't walked anybody, but the White Sox have fouled a lot of pitches off. This will be his 39th pitch. And he misses low, full count. Now Pierzynski will take off from first.
See how Justin plays right here. Morneau letting Baker know that he'll be playing behind Pierzynski. Wayne Wise on deck.
Three and 2. Pop up right side. Casilla out. Anything over. A long one for Scott Baker, but another scoreless inning. Minnesota Moment brought to you by Explore Minnesota. You can visit exploreminnesota.com to plan your next Minnesota vacation today. That's the Fitzgerald Theater in beautiful downtown St. Paul. The oldest surviving theater space, originally named the Sam S. Schubert Theater. And of course, the home of Garrison Keillor's The Prairie Home Companion radio show. Garrison Keillor, big Twins fan, follows the Twins regularly. Michael Cuddyer in the first pitch, fouling it back to the screen. It'll be Cuddyer, Creedy, and Harris facing Mark Buehrle, who has been perfect again here tonight. Bouncer left side. Week 2 Hopper. Beckham with a high throw, and Konerko keeps a foot on the bag. Chrysler key stat. Question is, other than Johnny Vandermeer, I guess how have pitchers done after they've thrown a no-hitter or a perfect game?
Well, again, you look at those guys and all of them pitching a perfect game. Of course, you're high, and some of them pitched very well after, that perfect game. Kenny Rogers, probably the one that didn't pitch as well.
Up and in to Joe Creedy back on the lineup. When Buehrle threw his no-hitter, pop up right side, and Getz is in short right field to make the catch, 2 down. When Buehrle threw his no-hitter a couple years ago, everybody in the starting lineup and Buehrle laughing with Creedy saying something as he trotted behind him. Buehrle bought everybody in the lineup that day a watch and presented him with a watch. And so I asked Creedy in Anaheim, and what kind of watch was it? He goes, "Oh, I don't know. I've never worn it. I just put it in the closet with my other stuff." Buehrle, as a thank you gesture, bought a nice watch for his teammates, and that was just for a no-hitter. I would imagine he's now on the hook for an even nicer gift with a perfect game.
You know what I find funny in this game with Buehrle pitching is that Ramon Castro is not catching him.
Yep.
That's the first time that Castro had caught Mark Buehrle, and he threw a perfect game. It's A.J. Pierzynski doing the catching here.
And fouled away 1-1. And when the San Francisco Giant threw the no-hitter a week or 2 ago, that was Eli Whiteside. That was the first time. Whiteside had just been called up, I think, a day or 2 before that to catch the no-hitter. Up and away, 2-2. That's what he does. He'll miss high and away and then come down and in.
Oh, it's amazing, too. Eric Cooper was a home plate umpire for his no-hitter a couple years ago, and then for the perfect game.
Another weak ground ball. Buehrle's got something going here. He's got a couple of perfect innings. In a scoreless game, we go to the 3rd. And the manager of the all-Metrodome team, Tom Kelly, will join us when we come back. Tom Kelly inducted into the Twins Hall of Fame. And today honored as the manager of the All Metrodome team. Dwayne Wise leading off the third against Scott Baker. We're happy to have TK with us. That's a nice honor, isn't it? I mean, you first showed up here as a third base coach. You've spent a good part of your life here.
In this building.
In this building.
Yeah, probably more time here than at home, that's for sure. Yeah, there's a lot of people that like it that way.
2-0 to the number 9 hitter, Dwayne Wise. It's hit deep to right, hooking down the line.
That's foul. That's just a long strike.
Foul ball.
Phew, I thought I was going to be bad luck.
Well, Tom, you got to look at this All Metrodome team that the Twins announced tonight. Any surprises at all?
You can't go wrong, and sure, you can say, well, how about this guy, how about that guy. It's the same with whenever time they do something like this. It's a wonderful thing for the fans to get involved and get a chance to vote, and it's all about Metrodome memories. And again, it's being part of it is like we said earlier. It's just I was in the right place at the right time with a lot of good players, so I was very, very fortunate.
Yeah, but somebody had to manage those players, and you did a great job of that.
We try to stay out of the way so I don't trip anybody. Keep your feet back so you don't trip anybody as they go by.
Well, you see the lineup right there, the starting pitchers, relievers, and then all the infield, the outfielders. Paul Molitor, the designated hitter.
Ooh, boy, I could try not to screw that one up. My goodness. Those kind of lineups, you have trouble writing the names down where, put them in the right spots. You probably can't go too far wrong.
Well, I thought it was great of you when we did the pregame on the field. That all those names right there are nice, but there's so many other guys that help contribute to make those players even better.
Correct. And they're the guys you need.
Yep.
You have to have them. You can't play the game without 25, and everybody contributes in some way, some bigger than others, but everybody playing at the level that they can play at and contribute in the spots that they can contribute in, and put people in position so they can be successful. And within all that, they still have to complement each other and pick each other up. Everybody makes an error. Everybody makes a bad play. The manager screws things up. And so you have to have people that can step in and pick up for one another, and whether it's fielding or hitting, or whatever it may be, base running. And, as we talked earlier, the Athertons of the world, the Berenguers, the Timmy Loudners, as you brought up, Brian Harper, super job.
Yeah, I talked to Keith
relatively
Atherton.
unknown.
I talked to Keith Atherton a little while ago, and he told me, what about me? How come I didn't make it,
Yeah. No, he was special. Yeah. Great job for us. Danny Shatsky. You can go on and on. There's a whole bunch.
Carl Willis.
The big train.
Pasetnik steps up in the box again and lifts another foul back, 1-2.
I'm sure we're going to miss a whole bunch of people here, but
got to mention Randy Bush. He was part of both clubs. 87.
Absolutely. Lombo and Al Newman. Their own little ways were very, very integral parts of a successful group.
Been a lot of fun here in 28 years at the Metrodome, and 32 more games here.
I've seen Pasetnik do that several times where his feet are moving while he's
That's how
swinging.
I used to swing. That's not good.
That's what made you a manager at a young age.
It got me off the field and onto the bench.
CarSoup.com.
He's a good player. That Pasetnik, he's a good player. He does so many things very, very well. A lot of speed, and makes up that speed can really help you out, especially at this ballpark.
Cal Summers from Bloomington wondering, TK, who was your favorite Twins player to manage?
Well, that's I think everybody's favorite player is Kirby Puckett, and he made the building, the Metrodome, a special place to come, and he was an attraction to all ages, kids, adults, older people. He didn't have that perfect baseball player body, but and I think everybody identified with that blue collar attitude and work ethic that he had, and he was if you wanted to make a statement that he made people better, he made a whole bunch of people better, and really did so much for the upper Midwest and putting the Twins baseball back on the map.
Marvelous play by the shortstop and the first baseman. Punto and Morneau combined to get the speedy Ramirez out, and Baker has a 1-2-3 third. Kirby Puckett named to the All-Metrodome team
Dick,
today.
if you look at that right there, TK, that smile. I mean, the eyes. You can almost see the enthusiasm and the love that he had, not only for baseball but just for life.
Yeah, he was infectious.
Yeah,
the way he walked in the clubhouse and his work. First one down to get the work going and hit and caught the ball with two hands in the outfield. Always threw the ball in with some authority.
He did it right.
Ran the balls out.
And Gomez dumps one over third. Foul. So Gomez will get another swing or another strike.
This guy's fun to watch play, isn't he? Gomez?
I like Gomez a lot. He's got a lot of enthusiasm and, of course, his speed. And he looks like he really likes to play. So he's the kind of guy I like. Usually has a smile on his face and he tries awful hard. I really like when he's in the ballgame. I really enjoy watching him play.
Well, we talked about Kirby Puckett, and Kirby had a torch, and he handed that torch to Torrey Hunter, and then Torrey left, and now it's Span or Gomez out there that kind of taking that torch.
Right.
Hopefully in the years to come to somebody else.
Very exciting players. And, just got to hope to just keep getting better. Keep working.
Gomez with a foul, 2-2. Gomez hit a big 3-run home run against Burley here last time out.
Yeah, he's 8 for 18 against Mark Burley. Some success against Burley.
It'd be a good time to get one here. Get the ball rolling here.
And now he's taking the count full. It was 0-2, and now it's 3-2.
Burley has to be fun to play behind.
He works
He gets
quick,
the ball and throws it.
Got him. Came back to strike him out. One down. Ron Coomer, your thoughts about the All-Metrodome team?
Well, it's a pretty good club. I got to say, if you were going to manage, that's a pretty good one to manage.
Yeah.
But I'd just like to say to my old manager and to Bert, but first Tom, you gave a lot of us a chance to play in the big leagues and just gave us the opportunity to do something that everybody wanted to do as a young man. So there's a whole bunch of us that aren't all Metrodome team guys, but we would just like to say congratulations and thanks.
Thank you. That's very nice. Thanks, Ron.
Outside 1-1 to Nick Punto. It'll be Punto and then Casilla. Burley 7 up, 7 down so far here tonight.
Oh, but you're talking about TKC and not taking a lot of time over that pitching rubber and just throwing strikes.
It's you know, if you're a player, it's the kind of guy he throws it over. You're in the game. You're ready to move. You're ready to make a play. And even when he gets a couple men on, it's not an issue. You know, just keep going. He just keeps it going.
Yeah, the game is the game.
Wonderful.
Just
wonderful.
Get into that good rhythm, and that's what Burley likes to get into. His players behind him like that rhythm.
Sure.
Here's Casilla. Strike one.
Throw strikes. It just keeps you on your toes, and you know, in Bird it turns too, because then you feel better when you go up to hit. You know, when you get off the field and you're ready to go and hit. And not that I could hit, but I mean the players, I think, feel much better. When, you know, you talk about it a lot. You know, especially when we score, get out there and hold them the next inning, and get right back in and hit again. That's all very important for momentum, and your players feel good about themselves, and usually have a real good night when the pitcher is in that kind of mode.
And this game is played on momentum. We showed in our open that, you know, the Twins are 11-2 since last year here, where they struggled in Chicago. That positive thought is so important.
To Hopper to third. Our thanks to Tom Kelly for stopping by.
Appreciate
Congratulations again on
Thank
being
you.
the manager of the All-Metrodome team.
I had good players. There's no way around that.
Thank you, Skip.
Reset. Mark Burley's at it again. 3 perfect innings tonight. There's Steve Stone, TV analyst for the White Sox Network. Here's Steve Sachs. Here's Jermaine Dye. And a belt high strike. Dye singled with 2 out in the first inning. Pierzynski with a leadoff single in the second. No White Sox runner has reached second base yet, and there's strike 2. Wild start to the game in Arlington, Texas. Tigers with 3 early runs. Rangers have come back with a bunch. Vicente Padilla unable to make the start for the Rangers. Ongoing flu symptoms. He was diagnosed with the swine flu, the H1N1 virus. 1-2 to Jermaine Dye. Foul to the screen. Dye, Konerko, and Pierzynski to face Baker here in the 4th. Chopper right side. Casilla with a chest high hop, 1 down. And for more on that theme, let's have a Dodge game break and Robbie and Smikowski.
Yes, indeed, Dick. The Detroit Tigers had a 3-0 lead in the top of the second inning in Arlington, but Michael Young's RBI double in the bottom of the second inning capped a 4-run comeback by the Tigers, and that's the score right now. It started with an Elvis Andrus RBI single and Ian Kinsler 2 RBI triple, and then Young's double has put the Texas Rangers ahead by a 4-3 score. Let's hope it stays that way, right?
Love those pitchers duels. Yep.
Yeah. Konerko, the hitter, hit a ground ball to Harris his first time up. Twins trying to catch the White Sox tonight. The Tigers on the next road trip. Over for a strike, 1-0. Two and one. A bit different world for Konerko and the other hitters in the middle of the lineup not to have Tomey in there. 2-1. 2-2.
Good fastball away right there by Baker. Baker 63 pitches, 42 have been strikes. 3 strikeouts in a ball game, no walks. He's allowed 2 hits, both singles. 1 in the first, 1 in the second.
And a chopper foul behind Jeff Cox. Ball bounding up and getting somebody right in the nose, it looks like.
Should have brought his glove.
Another 2-2 to Paul Konerko. Very high. Baker hasn't walked anybody. He's had a couple of 3-ball counts. Picked up 3 strikeouts along the way. Been, I guess, encouraging Burt because he has been getting some ground ball outs. Just a couple of balls hit through the air for outs. Most of his outs have come on ground balls. Nice play there by the pitcher. And another ground ball out.
Oh, good pitch right there. A breaking ball right there that Konerko may be thinking fastball and saw at the last second it's going to be a strike in kind of a half swing. Anytime you can get a power hitter to swing like that, you've made a pretty good pitch. Watch Konerko right there. Kind of a check swing right back at Baker. And of course, he feels it. They are the best athlete in the world.
In the world now.
In the
Used to be
world.
on the field.
No, in the world.
In the world.
Yep. I've expanded.
See, the bicyclists in the Tour de France who train and sweat and all that.
All they got to do is pedal.
Yeah.
Oh, that's all they got to do is pedal.
Lance Armstrong.
Yeah.
You say any pitcher in baseball is a better athlete than Lance Armstrong.
Probably go as far as Armstrong. We just can't go as fast.
Tour through France in about, what, 3.5 months?
You get to see the sights. He never gets to see the sights.
Stop and smell the roses.
Right,
Is what
you
you're
have
saying,
to
right?
once in a while.
2 strikes to Pierzynski.
He could go right by a McDonald's and not even see it. I see it.
Yes, I see that you see it.
Okay, Jack LaLanne.
2 strikes to Pierzynski. And another foul. Aflac trivia question real quick.
Aflac.
Who was the home plate umpire in both Burley no-hitters? We mentioned that to you, so this really is a test as to whether you've been paying attention.
Was Steve S. paying attention?
2 strikes to Pierzynski. There's a bit of irony about
Well, yeah, I was
all
going
that.
to say what's funny about that is if you look in the umpire book, his number is 56.
The umpire's number.
The umpire's
Yeah.
number, and Mark Burley's 56.
That's eerie. That's
Yeah.
Twilight Zone stuff there.
They said when Burley pitched his perfect game, he talked to everybody. You know, it wasn't like, it was like everybody ignoring him. He went up and talked to everybody. He just kind of went about his business.
Pierzynski with another 2-strike foul. We've seen this act before. 71 pitches now for Baker, and he hasn't completed the 4th inning yet. He does strike out from time to time, but
well, it's the 4th and 5th inning that really tired Baker out in his last start against the Angels. He threw 47 in the first 3 innings, and then he needed 57 to get out of the 4th and 5th inning. He was trying to get Pierzynski out right here for a 3rd out of the 4th.
I remember that Bobby Abreu at bat against the Angels. That was the one that seemed to symbolize the turning of the game. Nice play by Casilla, and he can't quite get his feet set to deliver a throw. So it'll be an infield hit for Pierzynski after a marathon at bat.
Well, Casilla had to go a long way for this ball and maybe just could not get the grip on the baseball. Going too far to his right here, the exchange. You can see I don't have a good grip. It would have been a great play if he was able to make it. Instead, might have made a smart play by not trying to throw the ball maybe too wild, maybe over the head of Morneau.
So now Quentin, their designated hitter tonight in the absence of Jim Thome. Swing and a miss. Talked a little bit about it last night, and the White Sox are aware of it too. Quentin dealing with the same thing Shannon Stewart dealt with towards the end of his Twins career, and eventually Stewart shut things down and was unable to play anymore with his plantar fasciitis. High fly to center in the ballpark. Gomez makes the catch. An infield hit for Pierzynski, but a scoreless top of the 4th. Minnesota Twins baseball on Fox Sports North is brought to you by Quest. Get free 2 gigs online backup service with Quest high-speed internet. By Grand Casino Mille Lacs and Grand Casino Hinckley. Expect grand. And by Chrysler. From power and efficiency to innovation and style, it's the way our vehicles come together that sets us apart. Chrysler. Bernard Span takes inside. First pitch from quick pitching Mark Burley, who has had 3 perfect innings here tonight on the heels of his perfect game in his last start. 1-1.
Again, watch Burley and A.J. Pierzynski work in and out. A.J. now sitting in, and that ball's middle in.
How many 2 hoppers has he gotten? He gets another one here of Span. From Span, 1 away. Second time in a row that Span has chopped one to Konerko.
Only 2 fly ball out so far off the bat of Justin Morneau, and then the pop up of Joe Crede in the infield. Burley does have 1 strikeout. Will go along with 7 ground ball outs.
His perfect game in his last start has landed him on the next edition cover of Sports Illustrated. So if he can pack that up with another perfect game here tonight, he'll be on Time, Newsweek.
Well, it just doesn't
Popular
happen that
Mechanics.
often. You know, last perfect game, you go back to 2004 when Randy Johnson threw his perfect game when he was with the Diamondbacks. And the thing about Burley, there's only been 5 other pitchers to pitch a no-hitter and a perfect game. So he's in some very, very good company.
Might have gotten away with a pitch there to Mauer, who had a hefty swing at it and a foul back. Now a strike shaving the outside corner.
And again, you see A.J. sitting outer half of the plate. We're going to ISO A.J. Pierzynski. And watch where he moves. 9 out of 10 times that ball is going to be in that area. Look at that. I mean, how nice is it for a catcher to know that, you know, hey, fastball away, breaking ball away, sit away, it's going to be there. And how nice is it for an umpire, and that plate's going to grow as he hits his spots.
Mauer strikes out, 11 up and 11 down.
And second strikeout for Burley.
Our Aflac trivia question. Asked by the Aflac through us. The home plate umpire in both Burley no-hitters was Eric Cooper, number 56 in your umpire media guide. On the outside corner to Morneau. Morneau with a fly to right. Short right. And a 3-hopper to the second baseman. 4 perfect innings for Mark Burley in a scoreless game as we go to the 5th.
Minnesota State Lottery Winner's Circle with Andrew here, who just returned from Iraq, Bert. He's in the Winner's Circle, and he gets $100 in Minnesota State Lottery Winner's Circle tickets. And Andrew, when did you get back?
I got back yesterday.
Yesterday from Iraq, and you're a helicopter mechanic, is that correct?
Yes, I am.
What was that experience like? In 10 seconds, how can you tell us?
It was a very eye-opening experience. This country versus their country, very, very different. Ladies and gentlemen, you live in a tropical paradise compared to Iraq. Be very fortunate you live in America.
There it is, spoken from one of our true servicemen. We're very thankful of your service, Andrew. Congratulations, you have $100 in Minnesota State Lottery Winner's Circle tickets. but that's not the good part. You're circled by Bert now. How do you feel about that?
I feel great. This hardly happens to so many people I see, and I know my uncle came here for his 40th birthday. It didn't happen to him, so I feel very fortunate.
You're a lucky man. Thank you very much, Andrew. Bert?
Well, thank you very much, Robbie. Yes, and congratulations and thank you. Thank you for all your service. To all the servicemen and women.
Chris Getz leading off the fifth. 2 quick strikes from Baker.
And we do live in paradise, don't we?
We have so much that we take for granted that we should not take for granted. Getz, Beckham, and Wise facing Baker here in the fifth. Baker's pitched awfully well, just 3 little hits, kept the ball in the infield almost exclusively. But people don't tend to notice that when the guy against you is throwing a perfect game, which, believe it or not, Mark Buehrle's doing again tonight.
All Baker can do is just keep putting zeros on the board. Nothing going here to the 5th inning.
And another 2-strike foul. That is why Baker's pitch count has mounted in his last few games, and that's the case again here tonight. He's thrown a very good percentage of strikes, 57 strikes out of 80 pitches, but he's had so many foul balls he's been unable to finish off hitters quickly. And another foul. We saw that a couple starts ago against the Rangers. We saw it against the Angels. And at some point, it's got to become a chronic problem in this day and age of pitch counts.
Well, he doesn't have a fastball that moves a lot, especially when it's up in a strike zone pretty straight. So the hitter has a tendency more to foul that pitch off than maybe a 2-seamer, just make contact and hit it down on the ground.
And that's a foul ball that looked like it bounced right over the bag.
Well, Chris Guccione, the third base umpire, had a great look at it right here. He's straddling the line and he sees that ball, lands foul.
Where did it first hit? On the chalk line and then just wide of the line, so that it never did.
That's a good call.
Yep, it never did cross over into fair territory.
Yeah, again, if that ball hits in fair territory and then it goes at that angle and lands where it is, sometimes that is a fair ball.
2-2. Well, Getz having another long at bat against Baker. We saw Pierzynski do this with 2 strikes. Well, the White Sox made kind of a curious signing today. They agreed to terms on a minor league contract with outfielder Trace Thompson. Notable only because he's the son of former Gopher Michael Thompson. Great basketball player for the Gophers and, of course, in the NBA as well. Now a pop-up that Harris will circle around. And finally, Getz is put away. 10 pitches in the at-bat, the first out of the 5th. Here's Michael Cuddyer with some details on Twins group tickets.
One of the best things about Twins baseball is sharing it with others, like with your customers, employees, or colleagues at work. Call us today to book your group at the Dome. Thanks for your support.
Thank you, Michael Cuddyer. Here's Gordon Beckham. Twins learning about Beckham. And they found out last night, if they didn't know already, he's got pretty good power. He had a line drive home run to start the scoring last night against Glenn Perkins. Swing and a miss, 1-1.
Well, we want to congratulate Matt Thornton and his wife Emily for the little baby girl that she delivered, 7 pounds 7 ounces. Little baby girl. Matt Thornton is still not here tonight, the only left-hander out of the bullpen for the White Sox. Also missing is pitching coach Don Cooper. He is also not here. Left the ball club for family emergency. And we forgot Stan Dickman's birthday last night. Happy 56th birthday, Stan Dickman, director of the Twins fantasy camp.
1-2 to Gordon Beckham. And Baker strikes him out and does so quickly. 2 down.
And strikeout number 4 in the ball game for Baker. All have been by swinging strikes.
Wise struck out his first time up. It's been an imperfect game for Baker, but here we are, bottom of the fifth, or top of the fifth rather, with 2 outs. And the White Sox haven't had a runner at second base yet. Two and 0.
When you're on that mound like Baker is right there, and you know who your mound opponent is and what Buehrle's been able to do, you say, I cannot give up a run. And that's what the way you think out there. You have to make very good pitches.
Pitch left up, Wise fouls it straight back. Buehrle acknowledged by President Obama for his perfect game. The day of the perfect game.
That's only because he's a White Sox fan.
And Dwayne Wise acknowledged, but the president mispronounced his last name. Called him Dwayne Weiss. 2-1 to Dwayne Wise. 3-1.
How about that? The president making a mistake. Unbelievable.
And now 3-2. Wise, who was put into the game for defensive purposes, did what you're supposed to do if you're put in for defensive purposes. You make a great play.
He said that was the greatest catch he ever made under the circumstance that it was in. Unbelievable catch.
3-2. That's to center, but it'll carry out to Gomez, who ends the inning. And Baker has a 1-2-3 fifth inning. We got a great pitcher's duel here tonight. Abrams getting a pie in the face from Jim Cunningham on his 40th birthday. So Adam is the PA announcer here at the Metrodome. So happy birthday, Adam, and we had nothing to do with it.
You did, I didn't.
Michael Kadire will lead things off in the fifth. Joe Creedy, Brendan Harris will follow. And Buehrle, who made history in his last start, is on the cusp of making more history here in the fifth inning.
Yeah, Buehrle's retired 40 straight consecutive batters. The major league record held by a teammate of his, Bobby Jenks and Steve Barr have retired. Jim Barr, 41 straight.
And Kadire on 3 pitches, and Buehrle has tied the record set earlier by a couple of relievers, and you can see he's really wound up tighter than a drum. He's grinning at people and just having the time of his life out there.
Well, high fastball right here, and Kadire unable to hold up. Buehrle picking up strikeout number 3 in the ball game.
Well, here's Creaney, who popped up quickly in his first at bat in the second inning. Inside, ball one. No one has hit the ball hard. The closest the Twins have had to a hit was a little flare over the head of Beckham that landed about a foot foul. Well, that was Gomez who did that. Broke his bat in the process. That's hit a long way, but very foul. 1-2. The other two guys who retired 41 in a row were both relief pitchers. So what Buehrle has done, backing up a perfect game with so far 4 1/3 innings of perfect baseball here tonight, historic. Just off the inside corner, it's 2-2.
Yeah, on that list, Randy Johnson with 39 consecutive batters retired. Tom Browning with 40.
Bouncer to short. Easy play for Ramirez, but a low throw, and Konerko with the backhand digs it out, and Buehrle has just set a record previously held by his teammate. They're going to take the baseball out. What a remarkable night for Mark Buehrle.
And records are made to be broken. You saw Bobby Jenks right there. Jenks did it a couple years ago. And the ground ball to Ramirez. Nice little shorthand pick right there by Konerko.
Pitch up high to Harris. Harris with a bouncer to short, his first time up. Even the foul balls have been weak. To Hopper, to Ramirez. 5 perfect innings for Mark Buehrle. Perfect innings to back it up here tonight.
Buehrle with only 62 pitches in the 5 shutout innings. 43 have been strikes. Been able to get 10 of the 15 batters been able to get strike one and having some fun out there.
Here's Pasetnik to lead off the 6th, and Baker delivers inside. Conversely, Baker's had 5 innings of shutout ball, but he's thrown 96 pitches, and the Twins are hoping he can pitch them through the 6th inning. Pasetnik bunts it foul, 1-1. Now, let me ask you this, because when the Twins come to the plate here in the bottom of the 6th inning, Carlos Gomez is going to be the leadoff hitter. It's a tie game, an important game for both teams. Pasetnik has just tried to bunt. What happens if Gomez turns around and tries to do that given the circumstances with Burley.
It's okay. That's part of the game. That's part of the game. You get on any way you can. You try to break it up any way you can. And I think the difference between the high pitch count for Baker and Burley, the way they go about their business, Baker's had a tough time getting strike one. 7 of 19 batters that he has fallen behind in the count, where Burley is 10 out of 15.
And a lot of these 2-strike fouls that have helped run the pitch count up.
Yeah, and a 0-0 ball game. You're talking about Gomez. Now, if it's a 6-0 ball game, then it's a little different, I think. You know, but again, that's Gomez's game. And Burley, right there, Baker picks a strikeout, his 5th.
Follow the Minnesota Twins on your iPhone and iPod Touch with MLB.com at Bat 2009, featuring play-by-play, video highlights, and live audio broadcasts. Visit TwinsBaseball.com on your iPhone or iPod Touch to purchase. One gone in the 6th. Here's Ramirez. He's tapped out twice to short. Texas leading Detroit now 5-3. Game in the 5th inning. To short center. Punto out. Gomez in. 2 down. And Baker will take all of those he can get.
Yeah, another reason for the high pitch count. You talked about a lot of foul balls by the Chicago White Sox, for the Twins, because of the movement of Burley, because he can go in and out. They're hitting a lot of ground ball outs.
Here's Jermaine Dye, a single and 2 trips. High and tight, ball 1. Ball down and in, and it's 1-1.
A good pitch down in the strike zone right there by Baker.
And now 1-2. Sometimes I would imagine, well, you've talked about it. You go into a game against a good pitcher, you figure I might have to throw a shutout. Well, all the focus is on Burley, clearly, and for good reason. And Baker's done his part here tonight.
Yes, he has.
1-2 to Jermaine Dye. And now 2-2. Baker's next start might be August 4th against Cleveland. The Twins have an off day on Thursday and another off day on Monday. Gardenhire did not meet with the media today because he was feeling ill. And so one of the questions I had was whether Baker was going to start Sunday against the Angels on 4 days rest, or whether the Twins were going to skip somebody in the rotation, or let the rotation play through and have Baker pitch after the next off day on Monday, on Tuesday in Cleveland. 2-2 to Jermaine Dye. The listed rotation has Baker pitching Tuesday in Cleveland. In other words, Liriano, Blackburn, Swarzak, and Perkins will get the next 4 starts, then another off day. So Baker might have a little more slack at the end of the rope here in terms of a pitch count. Hasn't walked anybody. Handful of 3-ball counts.
Oh, big pitch right here for Baker.
A foul again off the bat of Dye. Konerko on deck.
Well, Baker with 108 pitches, a season high 114 2 starts ago in Texas. They worked 8 very good innings and a 4-1 win over the Rangers.
And a deep drive to left, and the White Sox get the first run of the game. Great at bat for Jermaine Dye, and it's 1-0 Chicago.
Well, Mauer wanted that fastball away, and he got it in and died, hitting home run number 23 on the year. And it's a 1-0 Chicago lead. Dye getting his second hit of the ball game.
And that'll bring up Konerko.
See Mauer move outer half of the plate, and that ball kind of went right into the swing of Dye.
About halfway up into the seats and left, 427 feet from home plate. And the White Sox finally break the ice here in the sixth. Here's Konerko. There's your run. Changeup misses, ball one. Swing and a miss. The score of Burley's perfect game was 6-0. Jose Majaras warming up. So as he went through the end of the ball game, he had a comfortable lead. One and one. And a weak swing, 1-2. Pitch number 113 for Baker coming up.
If you're Scott Baker, it's 1-0. Still in the ball game. Get this final out right here. Hopefully the Twins can start getting on base.
That game we had here a few years ago, was it Santana against Freddie Garcia? And Jock Jones in the 8th inning finally broke up a no-hitter with a home run. Game finished 1-0. One of the great Metrodome memories the Twins have counted down this year. 1-2. Konerko fouls another one back.
Well, Jose Majaras getting loose in the Twins bullpen. Baker right now a season high, tying a season high, 114 pitches.
Half swing, that's strike three. Konerko's gone, but the White Sox get a home run from Jermaine Dye. Mark Buehrle stayed to a 1-0 lead.
A little bit short right off that seam in the dirt. And Justin Morneau making a nice little pick right there.
That's the Frost Brew Coors Light Freeze can. All right, 1-0 White Sox. Mark Buehrle with a perfect game in his last start, and he's had 5 perfect innings here tonight. It'll be the bottom third of the lineup, starting with Carlos Gomez, who takes outside ball 1. Gomez, Punto, and Casilla, with the corner infielders playing up, of course, respecting the speed of all 3. Ripped foul.
Oh, Ron Coomer down there. Oh, Ron left.
Oh,
that's a good thing.
Camera guys. The camera guys cares about it. Ron Coomer. Rob almost got smoked there in the blue shirt. Gomez bounces another one foul, and here's Buehrle ahead in the count, 1-2 again. And more often than not, it's been just a 2-hopper after a 3-hopper after a 2-hopper here.
Pretty 2 perfect starts.
Very high, and it's 2-2.
Buehrle in that perfect game had 6 strikeouts in that ball game. He has 3 so far.
And he nearly hit Gomez. There was a point in time out number 2 came in the 9th inning. A 3-2 count, and Buehrle threw a changeup to strike out a right-handed batter. And Gomez hits it straight up in the air on the 3-2 pitch. Beckham, out number 1. 15 years ago tonight, Kenny Rogers threw a perfect game. Wow. Buehrle yesterday taped a segment for the David Letterman show, Late Night with David Letterman. He did the top 10 list here from the Metrodome, the top 10 things he was thinking about while throwing his perfect game against the Rays. Punto takes high, 1-1. If he throws another one here tonight, he's going to get a lot of invitations. On the outside corner, 1-2.
We see that plate will expand. Punto doesn't like it, but again, you hit your spots. That home plate umpire will give you a little bit more. Mike Winters behind the plate. Punto stepping away, trying to slow Buehrle down.
To the right side, fielded by Getz, 2 down. Of course, watching Buehrle last night on David Letterman show reminded a lot of Twins fans of Kirby Puckett's appearance, giving the top 10 ways to mispronounce Kirby Puckett.
And the number 1 way to mispronounce the name Kirby Puckett. Eagle Puck Kirby Date. There you go!
And the first pitch strike to Casilla. Kirby, of course, named today to the All-Metrodome team, but no one's surprised. And Casilla swings and misses, 0-2. I can't believe what I'm seeing here. This guy is, at least in the game against the Rays, they had some line drives here or there. Twins haven't hit anything hard tonight at all. 1-2.
All right, changing speeds well, hitting his spots, trying to go up the ladder right there, see if Casilla would chase it. Pitch count, very good.
Checked his swing, we think.
A.J. begging right there. Terry Lane, the crew chief, saying that Casilla did not.
18 years ago today, Dennis Martinez threw his perfect game. Two and two. Now Casilla has a 3-2 count, as Gomez did. The Twins fans haven't had anything to cheer about, hoping that they can at least get a base runner. And a walk puts Casilla aboard, and Buehrle's incredible streak comes to an end. And I think a lot of the people standing here are standing for Mark Buehrle. What a remarkable streak for the Chicago left-hander.
45 consecutive retired batters, a major league record.
boxed out twice to first. The no-hitter still very much intact.
That just shows what type of fans Minnesota has right there, acknowledging a major league accomplishment.
And strike one to Span. Pretty close pitch from up here. It looked like a close pitch that Casilla took for ball 4. Span to center, and there goes the no-hitter. Remember when all this happened to Scott Baker a couple years ago against Kansas City in the 9th inning. He walked John Buck. Then Mike Sweeney got the base hit. And then Baker had a tough time getting through the inning. And here's Mauer with 2 men aboard.
Fastball lined in the center field. And no doubt about it, base hit right there by Span.
So some speed on the bases, and finally the Twins get into the hit column. And Mauer trying to get the game tied up or better. Mauer with a bouncer to second. And a strikeout. Strike one.
Mauer has actually had a tough time against Mark Buehrle. Just 5 hits and 29 at-bats.
At this point, he's hitless in this series, 0 for 6. To left field toward the corner. Pasetnik chasing it. Can't make the play, and a ball bounces into the seats. The game is tied. Pasetnik got there, but didn't catch it.
Well, that inside-out swing of Joe Mauer, the ball just kept slicing away from him. Don't know if Pasetnik maybe lost flight of that ball, but it looked like he was there to make the catch. See that ball slicing right here away from Pasetnik. He had to go a long way to get it, and right there, just missed it.
I don't think it ever hit his glove.
And they're ruling a ground rule double for Joe Mauer.
Here's Morneau with 2 men aboard. Chopper to first. So the Twins get one of everything. A base runner, a hit, a run. We're tied at 1 going to the 7th. Well, it started with the number 9 hitter. Casilla took what looked to be like a pretty close pitch, got a walk. Span with a clean single. And that we emphasize the word clean because what happened afterwards with Mauer would have raised all sorts of eyebrows if that ball had been the first hit. It wasn't. Mauer given credit for a double. We have a tie game here going to the 7th.
And good job by Scott Baker after allowing the home run, able to get Konerko out on strikes and allowing the Twins to at least tie the ball game. So Decision for Scott Baker, but 6 very good innings. So Jose Mijares out on the mound now. He's making his 39th relief appearance. He last worked Saturday, an inning in Anaheim.
1 strike to Pierzynski, who has a pair of singles. 2 of the 4 Chicago hits, 1-1. Pierzynski, Quentin, and Getz. Lefty, a righty, and a lefty. 34,642 paid attendance here tonight. A little bit bigger crowd than last night. Bouncer to first. Financially and otherwise, being an official scorer is kind of a thankless job. Greg Wong does a great job of it here. And people who've done his job say when they get to that point of the game where somebody is threatening a no-hitter or a perfect game, it really gets them nervous because they have a task. What would have happened if Span had not gotten that clean single? How would you have ruled that ball in left field?
Well, first of all, Span didn't get, Joe Mauer wouldn't have had a chance to get out.
No, I know, but you know what I'm saying. If it's a play like that, they always say, official scorers say they're told the first hit has to be a clean hit. And I don't know whether that would have impacted Wong's call at all in left field if Span had not previously gotten a hit.
Well, I know from personal experience, I had a no-hitter in Toronto going into the 9th inning, and the ball was lost in the lights.
Left center toward the gap, long run, Gomez after it. He gets there, 1 away. Here's our Dodge game summary and what's been a great pitcher's duel.
Well, Baker made really, he pitched outstanding. Made only 1 mistake. And they gave up a home run to Die, but able to pitch 6 very good innings. There's the home run to Die, his 23rd of the year. That gave the White Sox a 1-0 lead. And then Joe Mauer slicing the ball just out of the reach of Posednik for the RBI double.
Carlos Quentin 0 for 2. Just off the corner, ball 1.
Reading the paper this morning about Bernard Span and Gomez when they collided last night in the first inning. Span was quoted as saying, "That man's all over the place."
Out in front, 1-1.
Gomez did a great job of running down that ball off the bat of A.J. Pierzynski to left center. You shade him that way anyway.
Foul back. And of course, it was Dwayne Wise making a catch in left center field in the 9th inning to preserve Burley's perfect game bid. When I saw that in Anaheim, was watching it live, first thing I thought of was Puckett's catch in the World Series in Game 6 up against the glass that was erected here. Bobby Keppel warming up in the Twins pen. And that brushed Quentin, and home plate umpire says, Mike Winter said, no, it didn't. Now Quentin, that's part of his game. He typically is among the league leaders in getting hit by pitches. And he thought he got clipped there.
Well, that breaking ball slider down and in.
He hasn't played much, but he's been hit 9 times this year.
I'm saying it nicked his back leg. Mike Winter's saying, no, get back in there and swing the bat.
And he does, and it's a fly ball to center. Out number 2. Kelly Shoppach of the Indians leading the league with 15. Quentin thought he'd just been plumped for the 10th time. Another Indian who's among the league leaders, Ryan Gark, was no longer with the Indians.
Well, got traded over to the Giants.
Texas leading Detroit now 6-3. 2 down here in the 7th. And here's Chris Getz. Breaking ball over. Well, it's good to see Mijares out there on the mound. He had that frightening situation Sunday in Anaheim. Combination of the heat and
too much Red Bull.
Caffeine, I guess. Yeah, 2 strikes.
They said he was just dehydrated. They took him to the hospital, put an IV in him, and got back in time to catch the team plane back home.
Fisted into short center. Punto out. And Maharis has a quick 1-2-3 seventh inning.
Well, there's our Mountain Dew fans of the game. Very nice.
That's not a clamshell, that's the Metrodome.
It'll be the last time they see a ball game here, so hopefully next year they'll be at plenty of outdoor baseball here in Minnesota.
Michael Cuddyer taking strike one from Mark Buehrle. And that one just missing 1-1. Cuddyer with a bouncer to third in the second and then struck out on a half swing in the fifth. 2-1.
Again, you can see how quick Buehrle works. Doesn't take any time. 21st start of the year. His 289th Major League start. Has 133 Major League wins. And he's all about changing speeds. Put a little on, adding and subtracting.
And using the frame of the strike zone. He pitches to all four corners. 2-2. That got Cuddyer on the wrist, and he'll go to first. So a base runner, and the Twins have been starving for those all night long. And this base runner reaches leading off an inning.
Well, fourth hit batsman for Mark Buehrle. You can see just getting a piece of the right elbow. No, the left hand of Michael Cuddyer.
Well, here's Creedy. Pop to second and the bouncer to short. Buehrle with a great pickoff move. Teams have all but given up trying to run on him over the years. This does not look like a situation where the Twins would do that. Cuddyer with 4 steals and 5 tries. And then too, here's a guy who's been pitching from the full windup for 2 weeks. Now he's got to pitch from the stretch. Never got to the stretch position against the Rays. And in the first 5 innings here tonight. Hop back and out of play. 1-1. Texas leading Detroit 6-3 in the bottom of the 6th. Be that whoever wins here tonight will pick up a game in the first place Tiger Ball Club. Octavio Dotel warming up in the Chicago pen. Creedy takes ball 2. Off the end of the bat, and the second baseman was going to the bag. Right off off the end of the bat, and a little spinner leaked into right field. Getz, for whatever reason, took a couple of steps the other way.
Yeah, again, maybe lost the flight of the ball right off the get-go, but watch Getz at the top of your screen. His first move went toward the bag, and the ball scoots through. Good base running by Michael Kadire, hustling over to third base.
And now Harris. And what do the White Sox do in this tight, taut ball game with the go-ahead run at third? You play back for a double play, concede a run, or you play the infield up?
Well, right now, the middle of the infield, playing about halfway, not all the way back.
And
there'll be time called. A beach ball out in left center on the field.
Kind of playing halfway in between here, aren't they? The middle infielders?
So far.
And Harris, who has bounced twice to short, trying to loft one into the outfield here. Got a pitch up and fouled it straight back. I don't think Burley wants to leave that pitch there in this situation when all Harris wants to do is elevate the ball.
Well, Burley, 30 years old. This is his 10th season with the White Sox. Four-time American League All-Star. Made the All-Star team again this year. First Major League win came here against the Twins back in 2000.
One strike to Harris. Base hit left field. Kadire scores, and the Twins have the lead.
Right, tried to come in on Harris, and Harris opened up quickly, picking up an RBI, his 27th of the year. As Michael Kadire, who led off the inning, getting hit by a pitch, scores the go-ahead run right now. He tried to go in with that cutter, and Harris opened up quickly and found that hole between third and short.
Well, Burley, who retired the first 17 batters here tonight, now has retired just one of the last 7. And here's Gomez. Corner infielders up, expecting a bunt. And Gomez drops down a beauty. White Sox get the out, and Gomez gets a very well-placed sacrifice bunt.
It's a great bunt because what he does, he makes Beckham, the third baseman, come in and field the ball. And that leaves pretty much third base open, allowing Creedy to get to third.
Joey Corio and Ozzie Guillen giving the infield sign. Time for the Quest high-speed pitch. Brought to you by Quest High-Speed Internet.
Well, Mark Burley topped out at 89, Scott Baker at 90.
And now here's Punto. Couple of ground balls for Punto. Gomez has been, again in this series, playing like an all-star against the White Sox. Slap to right. A base hit. Creedy will score. Harris being waved around. Punto delivers a 2-run single.
Well, one thing we talked about yesterday, the production at the bottom of the lineup. Now, the first 5 innings, nobody did anything. But right there, a big 2-run RBI single. 2-run single right here, just slapping the ball the other way. And Ozzie Guillen is on his way out to make a pitching change as the Twins take a 4-1 lead.
And what a night for Mark Burley, but the Twins catch up to him a little bit in the 6th. More so here in the 7th, and the Twins lead at 4-1 with Octavio Dotel coming into the game. by the Twins fans, and he tips his cap to a very appreciative, loyal Twins fan, group of Twins fans. And
again, Dick, Twin fans know the game of baseball, and that just shows a lot of class by the Minnesota Twins fans, acknowledging Mark Buehrle, his accomplishments not only last time out, but his first 5 innings of perfect baseball.
4-1 Twins lead, and the last time Casilla stepped in the box, he did so as a right-handed batter, and on a 3-2 pitch became the first Twins base runner with 2 out in the 6th. Single and double followed. The Twins had the game tied. Down low, 1-1. And then Kanayer hit by a pitch in the 7th. Single, sacrifice, single. And just like that, the Twins have a 4-1 lead with Dotel on the mound.
Yeah, the numbers on Dotel making his 42nd appearance. Very good sinking fastball, hard slider. Dotel in his 2nd season with the White Sox, first came to the majors with the Mets back in 1999. And Nick Punto, good speed at second base. Now get picked off in yesterday's ballgame with John Danks on the mound.
Up and away to Casilla, 2-1.
But Nick Punto with 8 stolen bases in 10 attempts.
And now 3-1. Dotel's had good numbers, but like a lot of the White Sox relievers, the bullpen as a whole has just not been as efficient as it was a few weeks ago. And every team seems to go through that. Punto takes off, and Casilla draws his 2nd walk of the game. This Sunday, it's the Twins' annual salute to the first responders of Twins territory. First Responders Day, presented by Memorial Blood Centers, features a pregame ceremony and $1 tickets for all men and women who are in law enforcement, firefighters, EMTs, paramedics, and 911 operators. These tickets must be purchased day of game. And for more information, you can call 800-33-TWINS or visit twinsbaseball.com. Denard Span got the first hit for the Twins, a solid, clean single to center after the Casilla walk last inning. Takes down and away, ball 1. And a strike hits the outside corner. I think in his last 2 starts against the Twins, they have seen Mark Buehrle at the worst that they have seen him. The early knockout a couple weeks ago. And tonight he looked like he was going to get his 2nd straight perfect game.
Wouldn't that have been something?
And time called at the plate with Dotel and Punto playing a little cat and mouse. 7-3 now. Texas leading Detroit in the bottom of the 6th. Twins win this game, they'll pull into a 2nd place tie with the White Sox and maybe just pick off to 2nd, and the ball hits Ramirez in the wrist and backed up by Getz.
Well, the daylight play put on right there, Punto able to get back quickly. If the daylight play was on, he would have maybe dropped his glove, Ramirez, to let the pitcher know that, hey, I'm coming.
Now you say daylight play because you're looking for daylight between the runner and the fielder,
yeah,
right?
Not as much the pitcher as the shortstop is looking for. He's going to open his glove up, and that tells the pitcher, hey, I'm going to be going to 2nd, so you have 2 choices. You can either step off or throw to 2nd.
Last thing you want is for the pitcher to throw the ball home because the whole left side of the infield.
You're basically telling your pitcher, I'm going to 2nd base. Don't throw home. If you don't feel comfortable as a pitcher and you don't see enough daylight between Punto and Ramirez, just step off. Allow your shortstop to go back to his position and try it again.
See Ramirez looking at his left hand where the pickoff throw looked like it might have even hit him off the glove up around the wrist.
Well, one of the best that I played behind was put into the all-time Metrodome team, and that was Greg Gagne.
Really? He
did it as good as anybody as far as that daylight play.
And Tom Kelly in our pregame show talked about Gagne's sheer speed in first to third or second to home. What is he, 5'11"? He seemed to have the longest strides this side of Dave Winfield. Ran like a deer.
Yes, he did.
2-2 to Span. Lifted to left, and Pasednik retreats. And that's the second out of the inning.
You know, the thing about Greg Gagne, it wasn't only his speed, it was, you know, what he brought to the ballpark defensively, but very short, compact swing, very strong. That ball slicing right down that right. He had a lot of triples in his career. Right there, showing some power. Ken Herbeck pushing that ball out.
Well, Gagne in the 1987 World Series hit only 200, but he got a double and a home run, drove in 3 runs. In the 91 World Series, he hit 167, but again had a double and a home run and drove in 3. And importantly, in both World Series, did not make an error.
Oh, there's the all-Metrodome team, starting with manager Tom Kelly, going to pitchers, relievers, then the infield, then the outfield, and the designated hitter. Greg Gagne at short, and the Rat, Gary Gaetti at third.
2-0 to Mauer. What I think I'll do, I'll go through my Stratomatic sets, the ones that I have from those years. I continued to play Stratomatic, and the dice game, baseball game, a lot of people used to play. I'll pull out the best cards from those players, and I'll take on any team, anywhere, and I'll win the World Series. 27 Yankees, 61 Yankees. I don't care. 2-1. Maybe I'll have Tom Kelly manage it for me.
You picked a good one.
Two and one to Mauer. And now at the knees, 2-2.
That was Joe Mauer who put the Twins on the board with the RBI double to the fly ball down the left field line that Pasednik lost a little bit right at the last second. Ball ended up going out for a ground rule double. For Mauer, his 54th RBI. They tied the game at 1 apiece.
That crossed up Pierzynski. He had to jab the glove out there to keep that from going to the backstop. What happened there?
It was either crossed up or Dotel threw a wet one right there. Looked like a Gaylord Perry pitch. That's the way Jim Sundberg looked when Gaylord pitched in Texas.
3-2 to Mauer. With 2 outs, the runners will go, and there they go. Mauer keeps the at-bat alive. Morneau hoping for a chance here. The Twins putting up a 3 spot here in the 7th to take the lead for the first time tonight. Sliced foul.
Oh, very nice. Gave it to the young kid. That's mine.
And Joe Mauer hit it to him. Tough pitch, and Mauer gets a piece of it.
That's how you win 2 batting titles right there. You foul off nasty pitches. A breaking ball right here. Watch this. Wow. And you're hoping that Dotel makes a mistake.
Three and two again to Joe Mauer. And he walked him. And Morneau will come up with the bases loaded. And here comes, not sure who that is, the substitute pitching coach for Don Cooper.
Juan Nieves, I believe. He's the
Looks like
bullpen coach.
Yep. Well, Morneau, the 9th man to bat here in this long 7th inning.
I know former Twin Mark Salas is down in that bullpen.
Yep.
But now Juan Nieves, the bullpen coach.
We're happy to report that Rick Knapp's doing okay. He had a little health scare on a Tiger team flight on Sunday. And everything okay? Adjustment in his diet, and he's doing fine. Bases loaded. Twins already with 3 on the board. Ball 1.
All right, guy up right here, leading the American League in RBI. 2 grand slams already this year. One coming here against the Brewers, the other one in that Oakland series. Has 6 grand slams in his career. Justin Morneau.
2-0. In the 7th inning, the Twins have been at the plate nearly as long as they were in the first 6 innings.
Yeah, Mark Buehrle's not out there anymore.
There's a strike. Morneau leading the league in runs batted in by 7 over Longoria. In home runs by 1 over Pena and Teixeira. 3-1 and no place to put him. And Cuddyer on deck.
Dotel has given up 4 home runs this year in 37 2/3 innings pitched coming into this ball game.
And Dotel's come in and walked 2 of the first 3 batters he's faced. 3-1 to Morneau. And he walks in a run. And what we've been trying to tell Twins fans for a long time, as they've seen the Twins bullpen struggle, we, the Twins, are not alone. The White Sox have had issues. The Tigers, to a lesser extent, have had issues. And it's very common for teams this time of year to have relievers wear down, and Dotel's walked 3 in the inning. And he delivers a strike to Cuddyer.
And the sad part is there's no way to defend that, a walk. You can't defend it. You have to be able to throw strikes.
Low 1-1.
Cuddyer started this inning off against Mark Buehrle when he got hit by a pitch. Twins hitting around here in the 7th inning.
DJ Carrasco warmed up, but Ozzie Guillen's letting Dotel twist in the wind here with his control issues. Check swing, and it's 2-1. Five runs on 5 hits. And Cuddyer with a chance to bust the game completely wide open. 2-2.
Well, the book is closed on Mark Buehrle. 6 1/3 innings, 5 hits allowed, 5 runs all earned, with a walk and 3 strikeouts. So a guy that had a perfect game after 5 innings leaves this ball game giving up 5 earned runs.
And Cuddyer called out on strikes to end the inning. 4 runs for the Twins on an assortment of singles and walks and sacrifice bunts, and it's 5-1.
Yeah, Maharis right here. He's got a chance to get his first major league win, a shutout inning in the 7th. Hopefully able to get through the 8th here.
Gordon Beckham will lead things off. And Maharis delivers low, ball 1. Beckham, Wise, and Posednik, with Bobby Keppel continuing to warm up in the Twins bullpen.
Yeah, no free passes for Maharis here. Make Beckham swing the bat.
And there's a strike, 2-1. Beckham against Baker, popped the second and a strikeout. Baker pitched very well for the Twins, just 1 run allowed on a Jermaine Dye home run in the 6th inning. Didn't walk anybody. And a base hit to start the 8th inning. Beckham is aboard with a leadoff single. On August 13th, you can join Minnesota Twins first baseman Justin Morneau at a casino night to fight arthritis. You can play casino games with current and former Twins players and other celebrities. Proceeds support the Arthritis Foundation and local children and adults living with arthritis. To purchase tickets, visit http://twinscasino-night.kintera.org or more simply 651-917-3056.
Twins players do a great job of trying to raise money for so many great organizations out there. Maharis mostly asked to get maybe 1 out or maybe an inning. Only 2 times he's asked to work more than an inning, or he's worked twice 2 innings in an outing.
And while Beckham a right-handed batter, then Wise, Posednik are lefties. So with Keppel warming, if not warmed up, you might anticipate Maharis getting Wise and Posednik, and then the pitching change when Ramirez comes in, followed by Dye and Konerko. One and 1 to Dwayne Wise. Strike 2.
2 good breaking balls right there. Joe Mauer went out to talk to Maharis. And catcher's become another pitching coach. Settling Maharis down, now throwing strikes again.
That's down by the Twins bullpen, chased by 3 Twins, and neither will get there. With a strikeout in the third and a line out to Gomez in fifth. One and two. Nice block by Mauer, who couldn't see it, but he stopped it. Two and two. Wise fouls it back.
Break the rule.
Maharis' 24th pitch of the night. Lifted to left. Harmlessly towards Span. One down. And that'll bring up the second.
Twins have done a good job keeping this guy off the bases. 0 for 4 in last night's ball game. 0 for 3 so far here tonight.
Still hitting over 300 on the year. And one of the White Sox were scrambling. Wise was hurt. Had just injured his shoulder making a diving catch. They didn't have a leadoff man. And they pulled Pasetnik off the scrap heap, and he's been instrumental in getting them up near the top of the division. Span in foul ground makes the catch. Pasetnik quickly retired for the second out. And now we'll see if the Twins make a move. Here comes Ron Gardenhire. Now he heads back to the dugout. And now he's coming in.
They wanted some more information before he went out there, making sure that Bobby Keppel is loose.
So Keppel will be asked to get the last out of the 8th inning. Depending on how it goes, might be asked to pitch into the 9th. Maharis did his job. He retired 5 of the 6 batters.
Bobby Keppel asked to get this final out here in the 8th inning. Yeah, Baker's 6, I think, great innings right there. Mark Buehrle getting all the attention. Baker keeping the game close. Bobby Keppel, the numbers very good. 2.41 ERA. He last worked on Saturday. A couple shutout innings. in Anaheim.
Here's Ramirez.
6'5", good sinking fastball, and he gets ahead in the count.
Just off the inner edge, and it's 1-1.
Yeah, that's that sinker right there, the two-seamer that Keppel has.
And a slower breaking ball, missing high, and it's 2-1. A quirk about this series so far, with the only Chicago run coming on a bases empty home run by Jermaine Dye in the 6th. And remembering that Chicago last night scored their 3 runs on home runs, they still have not had a runner stand at second or third base. And Keppel doesn't want to walk Ramirez to advance Beckham to second with the dangerous Dye on deck. Missed inside, and Ramirez walks, and here comes Dye. Well, the White Sox do get a runner to second, and Dye, who homered his last time up against Baker, comes up with 2 men aboard.
Ron Gardenhire talking to pitcher coach Rick Anderson as he gets on the phone. And Gardy wants to talk to Rich Delmasic down in the bullpen.
And Rick Anderson's going to go to the mound. Last night, the Twins got a very good 8th inning from Matt Guerrero. He only threw 12 pitches. A very good 9th inning from Joe Nathan. He only threw 6. Looks like it's going to be Nathan taking off the warm-up, ready to get loose here. So Dye to the plate. He has 2 of the 5 Chicago hits. He singled with 2 outs in the 1st, and homered with 2 outs in the 6th. Keppel keeps missing with that sailing fastball in off the plate. There's a breaking ball on the outside corner. One and one. Our held it, just missed the corner. 2-1.
That ball not missing by much right there.
Hitters count 2-1. Popped up short center. Everybody running to the spot, and Carlos Gomez with the catch to end the inning and the threat. It's still 5-1.
And we invite you, along with my friends right here, to watch Quest Twins Live featuring the Toyota postgame wrap immediately following this Twins White Sox ball game. We'll talk about Mark Buehrle, not that perfect. He went 5 2/3, couldn't finish the deal for a second consecutive time. We'll also discuss outfield play and the Twins outfielders and how well they performed tonight, plus the mistake in left field earlier this game by the Chicago White Sox. Plus we'll review the All-Metrodome team. All that coming up and more for 30 minutes immediately following tonight's game on Quest Twins Live. And Bert, congratulations to you on being a member of the All-Metrodome team.
Well, thank you, Robbie. I'm just glad you found some friends.
Popped into center. Wise trying to find it. And Creedy gone on one pitch against DJ Carrasco.
Yeah, Carrasco coming into the ball game. Hard throwing right-hander, hard slider, and a curveball. He's making his 34th relief appearance, 59 1/3 innings. So asked a lot of times to pitch more than one, maybe 2 innings. 21 walks, 39 strikeouts in the 59 1/3 innings.
Hey, you with me? Key play in the game was Creedy's little spinner off the end of the bat where Getz broke the wrong way. If he fields that ball the way Creedy is limited in his running, that could have been a big double play and 2 gone with the bases empty in the 7th.
Yeah, it looked like right off the end of the bat, and the ball had a lot of spin on it, but for some reason, Chris Getz went to second base. He either did not see the ball coming off the bat, or he assumed maybe Creedy with that big swing was going to pull the ball.
Harris fouls it back after Creedy's little roller that got through the infield. Harris followed with a hit. Gomez sacrificed a couple of runners over. The Twins had taken the lead on Harris's hit, and then Punto slapped a 2-run single to right. That was the end of the night for Mark Buehrle.
That was a big hit for right there by Nick Punto. That kind of opened up the gate a little bit. Rather than a 2-1 ball game, Punto made it a 4-1 ball game. And then Dotel had some control problems, ended up walking Justin Morneau with the bases loaded.
Breaking ball gets Harris 2 down quickly here in the 8th. And now Gomez. You'd have a hard time convincing any of the White Sox people, players, coaches, media, why on earth Carlos Gomez isn't playing every day for the Twins. Now his season average is .237. But in the case of last night, it wasn't so much anything he did offensively, it was his base running play that earned him the Michael Cuddyer game ball and taking out Jason Nix at second base.
Yep.
Squirted and barehanded by Konerko for the out. So a 3-up, 3-down 8th. AT&T, the nation's fastest 3G network. AT&T, your world delivered. Cheap game reset with the Twins held in check by Mark Buehrle until the 6th inning.
Yeah, I think Mark Buehrle scared a lot of Twins over the first 5 innings. They thought, uh-oh, back-to-back perfect games. But in the 6th inning, Twins got a couple breaks, and then they got some in the 7th against Buehrle. He left the ball game. Octavio Dotel really had control problems. And the Twins have a 5-1 lead.
2-0 to Konerko. Keppel in a non-save situation, trying to take care of the White Sox in the 9th. And he misses 3-0.
Nice play right here to end the inning by Paul Konerko. The ball taking a big spin, and he just sticks those big hands out there and squeezes the ball for the final out.
And a strike, 3-1. Konerko, the veteran, taking a strike. Relatively inexperienced pitcher and Bobby Keppel on the mound. And the White Sox need base runners, and the Twins would like to not fire up Joe Nathan here in the 9th. And now 3-2. Somewhere on the Chicago bench, or maybe even in the clubhouse, is Jim Thome.
Well, you want to make him hit the ball right here. Ball a little bit low, but called a strike.
Full count to Konerko.
Go right at him.
Jammed him on a little roller to short. Pitch that sailed up and in, 1 away. So Konerko, you're looking back at Mike Winters a little bit, thinking that 5th pitch was low for a walk, and then he swung at what would have been ball 4.
I think he's also finding out if both his thumbs are there.
1 down, and here's Pierzynski. They say that the only place Pierzynski gets booed more than in Minnesota
in Chicago?
The north side, maybe. But in Anaheim, they still haven't forgiven him for what was really pretty smart baseball play in running to first in the strike 3 in the dirt in the playoffs a few years ago. Grounded to second. Casillas snares it. 2 down. And that'll bring up Carlos Quentin. Keppel trying to save Guerrero and Nathan for another night, maybe tomorrow night. Quentin is 0 for 3, a strikeout and a couple of flies to Gomez. We're in the 9th inning in Arlington, Texas. And a Texas team that was nearly swept by the Twins has lost twice since we played them. And they're on the verge of beating the Tigers twice. And maybe getting to within a game and a half of the Angels in the West. 1-0 to Carlos Quentin. 2-0. It's 7-3 Texas over Detroit in the 9th inning. Now high, it's 3-0 to Quentin. And a 4-pitch walk keeps the game alive for the White Sox.
And a second walk by Bobby Keppel.
And that'll bring up Getz. And I would imagine Bobby Keppel has one more batter here. If Getz reaches, then it becomes a save situation for an entering relief pitcher. And Nathan, who warmed up a little bit in the 8th inning, might be asked to pull the warm-up completely off.
Well, let's get the out right here.
He'll be wiping his chin here pretty soon with saliva. He's ready to come in. A cheap save, perhaps. They tend to drool about those things out there.
Yeah, I don't think there's ever a cheap save.
1 strike to Getz. And a drive to deep right center field. Kadir hoping for a bounce. He'll get one. So Getz keeps the game alive, and the tying run is in the on-deck circle, and that'll get Nathan fired up with Gordon Beckham coming to the plate.
Well, Keppel walked Quentin and then threw a high fastball right here to Getz, and he hits his 17th double of the year, his first hit of the ball game. Joe Mauer walk out, take a little extra time as Nathan starts to get on that mound out in the bullpen and start to throw.
Nathan warming up for the second time, and now Rick Anderson will buy a little time. We're told that Jim Thome's nowhere to be found in the dugout, which doesn't mean that he might not be available if Beckham should reach. Wise is the next scheduled hitter, and Thome has not made an appearance in this series with a sore back.
And Rick Anderson is going to wait until home plate umpire Mike Winters comes out.
And of course, the Getz at bat was so quick, Twins didn't have any opportunity to get Nathan up beforehand. So now here's Beckham, who singled his last time up. Texas has just finished off the Tigers 7-3. So one of these teams is going to pick up a game on first place tonight. At the knees, strike one. Side, a ball. It wasn't so much the double by Getz that's created trouble for Kemple. It's the walk in the 8th inning and then the 2-out walk here in the 9th. One and one. Bouncer up the middle and through for a hit. 2 runs are going to score, and the White Sox will get the tying run to the plate. And we'll see if Jim Thome's available or not. The one thing we're sure of, Joe Nathan's going to come in and try to get the save.
Yeah, here comes manager Ron Gardenhire.
So the White Sox trying to get a little Metrodome magic of their own. A walk, a double, now a single, and it's a 2-run lead.
Beckham taking this ball right back up the middle. 2-run single, 5-3 Twins lead.
And Nathan coming in for a save. Without the services of Jim Thome, with Nathan coming in, it'll be Dwayne Wise to take his swings against it.
Well, Joe Nathan looking for save number 28 on the year. He picked up his 27th last night in the Twins' 4-3 win. Only 6 pitches needed to get the 3 outs in the bottom of the, top of the 9th.
Wise, with 1 home run on the season, is 0 for 3 tonight. Wise suddenly represents the tying run. fastball that cuts the plate in half. I know Ron Gardenhire has been reluctant to use Joe Crede off the bench when his back is needed a day because it just takes him too long to loosen up. Might be the case with Tony here tonight. One strike to Dwayne Wise. Half swing and strike two. Earlier they were standing for Mark Buehrle. Now they're standing for the home team. And Wise fouls it back. To Dwayne Wise. Just off the corner, 1-2.
We tried a couple times with that fastball away. Wise fouled off the first 0-2 pitch. Just missing away. See if they go with that breaking ball down and in again.
The one that got strike two?
Yep. And Wise kind of half-heartedly swung at.
Foul straight back. And the pitch left up. Up and away, but up.
Wise just getting a piece of it.
Nathan got the save last night on 6 pitches. This is his 6th pitch to Dwayne Wise. And now 2-2.
What a surprise they haven't tried going back to that breaking ball. Everything's been away the last 3 pitches. Actually, last 4 pitches.
Two to Wise. A high fly to right field. Pedire playing back by the track comes in. The Twins have taken the first 2 from Chicago and now are tied with the White Sox 2 games behind Detroit.
Well, great job by the pitching staff. Some timely and some luck in for the Twins in the 7th when they opened up the ballgame 4-1. Great job by Scott Baker, and congratulations, Jose Mijares, his first Major League win.
More Twins coverage